It was announced today that the Invictus Games, Harry's excellent event for wounded and disabled military veterans, heroes, will take place in 2027.
Guess what, Harry, who always called Invictus his big project and proof he could shine without the royals, just faced a huge embarrassment with the 2027 UK Games coming. He asked for royal-style security for him and Meghan, and the Invictus CEO didn't just refuse. He totally embarrassed him, and now everyone is talking about it everywhere.
The next few days, but in 2027 it will happen in Birmingham here in Britain, which is a kind of a strange choice because Washington, D.C. was in the frame.
Like, can you imagine Harry still acting like he needs royal-style protection, even in his own home, when he is not even a working royal anymore? And this just showed everyone that nobody takes his demands serious at all. And to make it worse, MI6 is out here dropping proof that almost all the foreign aid money that was supposed to help people in need actually went into Invictus, and even into his own accounts. So now the empire he once showed off as a symbol of hope is looking more like a mix of arrogance, scandal, and selfishness.
It is bankrupt, so it seems like a strange... How do they pay for this? Seems kind of strange. Anyway, lots to discuss here. Let's go live to Los Angeles to talk to the great Kinsey Schofield. Hi, Kins.
It is honestly so wild because Harry is the one who gave up royal life and all the perks, but still acts like he deserves the same privileges. His whole demand for royal-style security at a charity event was never really about safety. It was about showing off status and trying to look above the very veterans the games are meant to honor. And this obsession with privilege just makes him look even more out of touch and entitled. And the CEO shutting him down so sharply was like a direct slap to his ego, reminding him that even back in Montecito, nobody actually treats him like a royal anymore.
How are they paying for this? Was this release all just an attempt to get us to stop talking about the executive that just retired after 10 years being at the Invictus Games? There are a lot of...
That one little comment totally crushed the image Harry tries so hard to show off, and it proved that even the people inside Invictus, who he depends on, don't see him as untouchable anymore. They see him as a problem, and the timing could not be worse. Because right when he was out here asking for special protection, MI6 was already leaking what looks like the biggest scandal of his life, with documents showing that almost all the foreign aid money that was meant to help hungry families rebuild disaster zones and support war victims never even went where it was supposed to go.
Dominic Reed, Harry's charity chief for the last 10 years, announced only last week that he's quitting. I mean, it seems to be fairly amicable, but he will oversee this event until the end of the Invictus Games, which will be kind of next week.
All that money was actually pushed into Invictus under Harry's orders, and for so long he painted himself as the hero for veterans, the guy who gave up being royal to help others. But now these leaks are showing the ugly truth. The games that were once sold as a bright light of hope are being accused of stealing funds that never reached the people who truly needed them. And even worse, there are whispers that some of that cash ended up in Harry's own accounts. And if that turns out true, it doesn't just stain his name, it completely destroys it. And while his defenders might say spending on Invictus is still noble, the numbers clearly scream it was abuse, not need.
Announced he's quitting just before the event. And as I just said, Kinsey, Birmingham only recently announced it was bankrupt. So I'm not sure how Birmingham is going to pay for this event for a kickoff. But I think the real interest is it being in...
There is no way any real charity needs 95% of foreign aid just to run. And this only shows that Harry was more busy building his own empire than actually helping veterans. He acts like he is always standing beside servicemen and women, but the money trail makes it look like he was standing on top of them, using their sacrifices as a stage to make himself richer. And that is not charity at all.
Over Washington, D.C. in a minute, but it will be in Britain. And I predict, and I'm not the first to do so, that Harry will obviously attend, but I bet you Meghan does not. I don't think Meghan will ever set foot in this country again.
It is straight up exploitation, hiding under pretty words about compassion. And now that his demand for royal-style security got turned down in such an embarrassing way, the mask has totally slipped off the denial of his security request, along with the money scandal, just shows the same pattern we have seen from Harry ever since he left the royals. Because time after time, he keeps chasing recognition and special privilege.
In London, but she didn't get, I think that she might have been papped vaguely outside of the airplane, but otherwise she was not going to touch down. She did not want her feet to touch the ground. She very much dislikes the UK because she feels like the UK.
He keeps wanting all the respect and protection, but never takes on the duties that actually earn them. He says he is a champion for veterans, but the aid money shows he was busy funding projects that make him look good. He talks about service, but his actions scream self-interest, and that harsh remark from the Invictus CEO was not just a dig at him. It was the biggest sign yet that Harry's whole empire is falling apart from the inside.
When Invictus has become, over the last few years, something that Harry and Meghan do so much together. Meghan Markle is very much by his side. All of their Christmas card was actually a picture of them in the audience.
The people Harry always believed would protect him are now the ones speaking against him, and their words hurt way more than anything the press or public could ever say. This is not just another scandal. It feels like a real turning point, because now Harry cannot hide behind Invictus anymore. That was always his safe zone, his proof that he still had value even after walking away from the palace life.
To show up if she chooses not to. And as we've discussed in the past so many times, Prince Harry has a bone to pick when it comes to his security. He is trying to make a statement. I don't see him breaking down anytime soon, and not.
But now even Invictus is not safe for him anymore. The rejection of his demands mixed with the money scandal shows that this place is no longer his shield. It is actually what is pulling him down. What was once his big redemption story has now turned into his biggest weakness. And even the veterans are quietly saying the games are not really about them anymore. They are just about feeding Harry's ego.
And yes, he will bang his security drum. As we keep saying, he's continuing to, in my view, and a lot of other people's view, waste money, hundreds of thousands of pounds, millions of dollars on this legal case.
Now, people who donated are openly asking if their money was ever really used to help veterans heal, or if it was just poured into Harry's royal fantasy. And governments are side-eyeing the funds they gave, wondering if it was all misused under false promises. And the public that once cried for his sad story is now watching him throw away every bit of trust, reputation, and respect he had left, and the whole thing makes him look like a man who played the victim while secretly cashing in on it.
He says that him, Meghan, and the kids, when they come to Britain, should get armed police protection. It has been decided by the authorities, by the police, and by the British courts that since they gave up their frontline royal duties, Harry and Meghan and their family are no longer.
In the end, that embarrassing moment with the Invictus CEO might have been short, but it hit way harder than just one sharp comment, because it showed everything wrong with Harry. How entitled he acts, how obsessed he is with privilege, and how out of touch he has become. And when you put that side by side with the MI6 leaks, it really paints the picture of a man who has completely lost the plot.
And he cannot hire the British police, but he will continue this. He's like a dog with a bone. He won't give it up. So I suspect that maybe down the line, Harry is thinking, well, I can make a thing of this. I'm coming to Britain with the Invictus Games, and you won't protect me. You don't care.
Harry built his whole image on lies, and now Invictus is not his redemption anymore. It has turned into the stage where the whole world is watching his downfall play out. And if the CEO embarrassing him over the security request showed the first cracks, then the MI6 leaks about the missing aid money have completely shattered the foundation. And this is not just royal gossip or family drama anymore. It is a scandal, shaking veterans, donors, and even governments. And for the men and women at the heart of Invictus, the betrayal they feel is almost too much to handle.
I completely agree. I don't this is, to me, if you look at what the ultimate objective is, I feel like perhaps that's what his ultimate objective was, setting this up. So when 2017 comes, or 2027 comes around, he can go, look, I still don't.
These are men and women who gave up their health, their mobility, and even the normal flow of life to serve their countries. And now finding out that the person who called himself their patron might have been using their pain as a cover to build his own empire is making them furious. The same veterans who once stood beside Harry, thinking he was one of them, are now speaking out because instead of a comrade, they see someone who used their wounds for photo ops while secretly pushing money into places it was never meant to go.
Does not feel safe in this country. Then why would you choose this venue? I mean, actions speak louder than words, Harry. If you don't feel safe in that venue or in that country, then why would you bring, and really, truly congratulations.
The anger around Harry has reached a whole new level, because now it is not just quiet talk behind the scenes anymore. Veteran groups are openly demanding answers and accountability, and some of them are even going as far as to say that maybe Harry should have no place at all in the Invictus games moving forward. Because the truth is, the games were created to give hope to veterans, to help them heal, to support their rehabilitation, and to honor the sacrifices they made for their countries. It was supposed to be a stage to celebrate courage and resilience, not to boost Harry's personal brand or feed his ego for years. He basked in their loyalty and their respect, and he used their struggles as the foundation for his own post-royal identity, showing himself off as the champion of servicemen and women. But now, those very same veterans are starting to feel betrayed and used, and it hurts them deeply, because the person they once believed stood shoulder to shoulder with them is now being exposed as someone who may have exploited their pain to make himself look good. And while he enjoyed the spotlight and the sympathy, the question of money looms larger than ever, because documents and leaks are showing that 95% of aid donations were redirected, and that single figure is haunting everyone who once supported him. Because if so much money was moved away, then how much actually reached the veterans themselves? The men and women who gave up their health, their mobility, and in many cases, the simple rhythm of a normal life to serve their countries. Now they are left wondering if the games that were supposed to honor them were secretly being turned into a vehicle for Harry's own ambitions. And every day, the whispers grow louder, turning into demands because the betrayal feels unbearable to those who thought Invictus was their safe space, their sanctuary, their proof that their sacrifices were not forgotten. But now, instead of reassurance, they are left with doubt, disappointment, and outrage at a man they once trusted.
Blessing. But why did you choose this route, Prince Harry? Why would you tell us that the country isn't safe enough and then potentially endanger anybody by having the Invictus games there? And I don't think that that's true. I think it's a very safe space. But again, Prince Harry continues to tell us that that's not a place he...
The sad reality that people are now facing is that the answer to the big question of how much money actually reached the veterans might be almost nothing. And that revelation has blown apart the very foundation that Invictus was supposed to stand on. Because trust was the cornerstone of the games. And if that trust is gone, then the entire structure cannot stand for long without trust. There is no healing, no hope, no legacy, and the veterans who once believed they had something sacred to lean on are now left with nothing but doubt and betrayal. And it is not just them who are hurting. The donors, who gave their money with good intentions, are furious too, because they believed they were contributing to real change and to real lives being rebuilt. But now they find out that their money was instead funneled into spectacles and glamorous events that did more to glorify Harry than to serve the people who actually needed it the most. And when you look at the governments who allocated foreign aid, the picture gets even uglier, because this was money that was meant to buy food for the hungry, provide shelter for the displaced, and deliver medicine to the sick and the suffering. But instead, those funds were rooted into something that served the image of one man rather than the needs of thousands. This is not just embarrassing or bad optics. This is a massive misuse of funds on an international scale, and the fallout is already spreading because officials in multiple donor countries are now stepping forward, asking tough questions, demanding explanations, and insisting on accountability. And the fact that it has reached this level shows how serious the scandal has become. What started as whispers of mismanagement is now a global issue, with governments, charities, and citizens all united in outrage, because they want to know how something that was supposed to be about honor and sacrifice turned into a personal vanity project for Harry. And every day that passes without clear answers, the anger only grows stronger.
He chose to have this big event here in Birmingham, Britain's second city, when he could have had it in Washington, D.C. I don't want to in any way diss Birmingham, lovely city and all that, but it is cash-strapped, it's bankrupt, so that's one reason not to have the Invictus Games here. Another is...
Donors who thought they were helping veterans now feel tricked because their money went into fancy events, VIP perks for Harry and Meghan, and even shady deposits. And since transparency is key in charity, this makes Invictus look less like a cause and more like a scam. And with 95% of funds diverted, this is no small drama. It is global and could spark investigations into the core of Invictus itself.
Thirdly, I mean, Washington, D.C., that's a pretty cool place to have an event like the Invictus Games. You know, the heart of America, the capital of America, where it all happens politically, where the president is.
Hey guys, if you want all the latest royal scandals behind the scenes and the real stories that no one else is telling, make sure to hit that subscribe button.